Okay, so let's understand a few things here. Is it necessary to set up the FTP site first before I create websites? No, it's not. But if you want to test your testing server, it is. So we'll discuss that in just a bit. But I just want to share with you, it makes total sense before you build your website pages to set up your site like we did in our previous video. Now, if I want to manage sites, that means that I can go and make changes to my site. Maybe I had a typo in here. Maybe I don't want to put it on my desktop. So from here, you could repath it to someplace else. So say as an example that you moved your folder. Now, I highly suggest you don't do that. Why create brain damage for yourself if it's not necessary? But I just want to share with you, under the site menu, I can make a new site or manage an existing site. So right now, I have that site set up. So I can go back to Dreamweaver here, and I'm going to go to my File menu, File, New. Now, I can also click right here, but I want you to comprehend the understanding of what we're doing here. Anything about a file is under the File menu. We're going to make ourselves a new file. Okay, so we make a new file inside of Dreamweaver. You bring up this interface. Now, what I want to do here is make myself a new HTML5 file. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click HTML5. Now I have a video that shows you how to set this by default, but we won't talk about that right now. So the first thing I want to do is create this page. Okay. Now, step one to a successful website creation is, of course, to save the file. Save the file. Before you do anything, save the file. Now, unlike any other program you've ever worked in before, the web is a very dot the I, cross the T kind of application. So let's think about this very intuitively. You're building a website to work on someone else's computer. You're building an application. You're building a series of linked documents to work on somebody else's computer. That computer being the web server. So you really have to be on your game when it comes to saving your files. You just can't save them any place. So in this particular case, we're saving our file instead of our root directory. Now, Dreamweaver knew to put your file there because we established that as our site root. So as an example, say you weren't paying attention and you were on your desktop. If you hit the save menu right now, it's going to save the file on the desktop. Well, that's not where the file goes. This is not Photoshop. This is not Illustrator. This is not Microsoft Word. This is a web application. So you definitely have to get into your head file management. I train a lot of people who they work at magazines. They have 20 years of experience with Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and Quark Express. They never had to pay attention to file management. Now they do, and it drives them insane. So very important step. Because we set up our site root directory under Site New Site, if I simply come down here and click Site Root, it automatically takes me to my site root. How cool is that? Okay. Now, very important step. Make a file. Now, any file that's called either index.html or default.html becomes the home page of that particular folder. Each website has a folder. So as an example, I want to share something with you. Okay, so we set up a folder called My Dreamweaver Website. Now, I just coincidentally happen to have a domain name called mydreamweaverwebsite.com. So some things here, guys, you have to use a little bit of brain power and use a little bit of intuition. When I say generically my website, that's the name of this particular project, but I happen to have a website called My Website. Now, this website says under development coming soon. The title page document is up here, which we'll talk about in a second, under development coming soon. So that means back in Dreamweaver, I don't want to save this as my index page because therefore it's going to replace the page that's up there saying under development coming soon. So what are we going to call this page? Well, let's save the file. As long as I don't call it INDEX, it's going to work. I'm going to call it what it is. It's index hyphen version 1 or index underscore version 1. Hyphen is more ready for search engines if you use the hyphen. So we're going to save this file in our root folder called index version 1 because the index page is already on the server. We don't want to interfere with that right now. We don't want to start putting pages up there that the whole world can see until we're ready, until our client has okayed the page. So this is simple, simple, simple. Index version 1.html as opposed to version 2. Make sure it's saved inside of your folder. Now, before I say this, we could put this in a separate folder called Client Test 1, Client Test 2, Client Test 3, etc., etc., etc. We'll talk about that in a later video. I just want to simply save the file, file save. Now, the second most important thing is to title your page. Title the page, not to be confused with the name of the file. Title the page. So we're going to put name of the website.com, and let's say we offer website services. So we're going to type in the word website services, and let's say we offer free web hosting. Well, free web hosting. So that goes into the title of my page here. It's not the name of the file, it's the title of the page. Now, I want to share something with you. Very, very, very important. Okay? Because we set up the root directory to this page here, we can simply publish this inside of a browser window by going to File, Preview in Browser. Now, I happen to have Firefox and Chrome as my two default browsers. Here. Firefox and Chrome. You can set this up any way you choose. If you go to the edit list here, this will show you my primary browser is Firefox. My primary browser is Chrome. My secondary browser is Firefox. So therefore, by default, Chrome becomes Option key F12 in Macintosh. Firefox becomes Command F12 in Macintosh. Windows, of course, that would be Control F12 and Option F12. So I just want to share that very simple premise with you. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that I can take this file and preview it inside of a browser window. Okay, so I'm going to go to Firefox and open up this page in a browser window. Now, since there's nothing on the page, but I can see this is the title of the page. This is my title. This ends up inside of a web search. This is very, very important stuff to title the page. Page's title, not to be confused with the name of the file. Name of the file's index version HTML. Okay, so whatever information I put on my page, I'm just going to put welcome to my website. Okay, now here's how the whole shebang works here. Before we set up the FTP, I just want to share again a very simple premise with you. We're going to tag. Right now, this content is not tagged. It's simply content. It's not a paragraph. It's nothing at this point. We're going to make this content a H1 tag. Now, if you worked in Microsoft Word or WordPerfect or any other program, you have a property palette. I'm going to go to my property palette and simply pick header 1. Notice I didn't have to select the content. I just put my cursor there and say header 1. So therefore, there's the header 1 tag. Make a change, save a change, make a change, save a change. If I hit the return key, okay, my new paragraph. So that's my new paragraph. I'm going to type in my new paragraph. Now, not here to trick you. I want to spell that correctly. So this is an H1 tag. It says H1 right here. This is the paragraph tag. It says paragraph right here. Okay. All Dreamweaver does is write code. That's what it does. That's all it does is write code. Okay. Now, in our next video, we're going to set up the FTP and physically publish this to our server. Then we're going to go to our existing web page that says under development coming soon. This is generic. This is the site was set up that way generically from the hosting company to say under development coming soon. What's under development? We want to make some simple changes here. Maybe we want to put some contact information on our development page. They want to put the name of the site or what we do, so before we launch the site under development coming soon, we can give more details about that particular site and perhaps put a contact link, different email address. So we'll do that, including FTP setup, in our next video, so stay tuned. Please subscribe. I share a lot of time-tested, simple techniques. If you want to benefit from it and learn and make money, I highly suggest that you subscribe to my videos.